What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Gotta Get Back, the Samurai Jack review show. Welcome to the season 4 finale, guys. And in the last episode before it was revived for season 5 in 2017. So, this is the last episode in the 4:3 aspect ratio. Everything after this goes to 16:9. So, I'm excited to wrap this one up, even if this episode was kind of hit or miss for me. But if you haven't seen the show before, guys, welcome to Project Potter. My name is Kyle. We do a recap of every episode of Samurai Jack. We do a favorite character, a favorite scene. We do a score out of 10, and then some trivia, if there is trivia for that episode. So that being said, guys, we're kicking off the season 4 finale, which feels kind of weird to say, honestly. But we get this beautiful, like, sunlit area here. Jack walks up, and this is a really weird opening scene because the animation looks so bad. Like I couldn't believe that it like made it to the final cut. So Jack is walking towards the screen, and this show is so good at showing like perspective and like not floaty, and it's usually great when, especially when Jack's moving. And Jack like walks up, and he's like floaty, he's like getting bigger, but it's like very. They tried to do something, and it just did not work, and it looks so bad. And I was like, wow. Like I thought my disc was broken or something because Jack like walks towards us, but they just make him bigger, but then he's like floating upwards. It doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to be him coming closer to the camera, but in animation, obviously that's hard to do. But they just did not do that part very well. So I was shocked at how bad that was. But for a series that has so many incredible animation moments, we can forgive it. But Jack does, like, he's collecting these peaches, and he's so happy. He's like, oh, peaches. And then he hears like a faint cry, and then he's like, he kind of ignores it. And then he goes to get more peaches, and he hears the baby crying louder, and he's like, okay. And then he drops his peaches, and he starts sprinting, and he's like, I need to go save this baby. And he eventually gets to a cave with a few trolls there, and he sees this baby hanging upside down, ready to be cooked for supper. And I will say, guys, I have talked many, many times about the sound design in Samurai Jack being one of the strongest points. Well, in this episode, it works against it because they perfectly nailed a baby crying so realistically and for so long that I was like, I had to turn down like the volume on my TV because I didn't want like the other people in my building to think that there's like a child crying in my apartment. So, it's really annoying after a while because like, it's great that they like nailed a baby crying, but it goes on and on and on, and it's like, all right, dude, we could have had like a short clip of this, and now it's been crying for like 3 minutes straight, and now it's just getting really annoying. And so I understand the concept that Jack has to fight with the baby's crying, and he has to run when the baby's crying, and he's like, please, you need to be quiet. But it just went on too long for me. And so Jack like runs away, and he goes up in a tree, and then he bumps his head by accident, and the baby starts laughing, which is the scene behind me. And it's, they kind of lose them for now. So Jack goes on his way. He's like, all right, we need to find your parents. And so Jack goes through all these towns, and he just asks literally everyone, like, have you seen this baby? Have you seen this baby? We just get a montage of it. We don't actually see him doing that, but everyone says no. So Jack is like, all right. So they have to like make a fire on the road. Why they didn't stay in that town overnight, I don't know, but they like sleep on a cot instead. But Jack is like, all right, let me tell you the story. So he tells the story about like a peach boy. It's in this older animation, and it's cool, but it's kind of random, and I don't really understand why it was in part of this episode. But he tells them how like the peach boy kind of was sent down from God to this couple that always wanted children but couldn't have children, and so they were so happy to adopt him. And he like says that he wants to grow up into a big strong boy, and he does, and then he wants to go take out the ogres that are like ravaging the town. And so he's like, let me go do that. So he like meets a dog along the way, a monkey, and like a bird, and he solves their issues by giving them peaches. And so then they find treasure. They take out the ogres, and they find treasure at the end. And that monkey, let me tell you, dude, he's got the crown on at the end, and he's reaching for that treasure. And I'm like, you better watch out for that monkey, dude. He's going to take all the treasure. But it's just basically like a bedtime story that Jack tells him. So I want to give credit to Phil LaMarr in this episode because he does a really good job of being like a father figure and welcoming, and something we haven't seen Jack do in the series. So I do appreciate that aspect of it. But then he needs to find some milk. There's this really weird sequence where Jack is trying to get all this milk from all these animals, like the deer and like the rats, where he's literally like removing baby rats and squeezing the udders. Weird, just weird. And it's like, you shouldn't be giving, I know you're trying to get anything for the baby, but it's like, bro, you can't be giving the baby, like, they eventually get like moose milk. And I'm like, you're getting moose breast milk for this baby? I don't know. It's probably like very like unsafe for sure. But anyway, there's like, I guess, kind of a funny scene where he like goes and he's trying to get the udders, and the animals are offended and they're kicking him, and he goes to a giant moose, and eventually he like jumps with this like dramatic like jack jump that he does for fights and stuff usually, and he squeezes on the udder, and it's a huge udder, and it like overflows the basket, and they get some milk. So he's like, oh yeah, you have a full tummy now, and they play with some of the rabbits and all that. But Jack is like, oh, we got to keep moving. And so there's like a scene where it's raining, and it's cute because they put the leaves on the head, so it's Jack and the baby, and they're both kind of bummed out that they're in the rain. And then there's like a French robot guy that comes up, and he's like, Samurai Jack. He's like, you are my bounty. And that was a terrible French impersonation, but Jack has to put the baby down, and he's like, no, it's okay, look in the puddle. And the baby's like splashing around, and but Jack has to fight, and he also has to watch out for the baby, but the baby ends up like watching it, and like he's kind of scared, and he ends up killing the robot that dies like right in front of the baby. And I'm like, oh, this kid is scarred for life. But he gets sick from being out in the rain, and so he sneezes on Jack, and Jack brings him into like a cave with a fire. And the baby's acting like it's on his deathbed. And he's like, please eat something. And the baby's like, no, please, no. So I get what they're going for, but that's kind of weird because Jack's talking to him like an adult. But of course, this is Jack, and he probably doesn't know how to take care of a kid. But he's doing a decent job. So eventually they go find like a peach, and the baby starts eating the peach, and then the trolls find them again. And then this is when Jack this time is like, okay, dude, he's like pissed off. So he's like, I'm going to take these trolls out for good now. No like troll robots, of course, because everything's robotic in this world. So he throws the baby up, spins the like the cloth really tight, so he like puts him on like his back. And then there's a really cool scene where he puts his sword up, and we see the Jack eyes in the back, and the baby's like, oh. And so then he literally fights the 4 trolls on with the baby on his back there. And it's really cool because they all have different weapons, where one has like a flamethrower and one has like an anchor, and they throw the flamethrower at it, and like it misses the baby, and the baby gives like a oh, hell no, like kind of look, and that's funny. But yeah, Jack goes along, he cuts off. There's like a mousy guy with a missile on his nose. Jack cuts it off. There's one guy, there's a football bomb, and then he catches it like an idiot. So he threw it, and he knew it was a bomb. And then yeah, the anchor guy is the last one. He takes that out, and so Jack takes everyone down. And then of course, right after he kills everyone, the mother comes over, and she's like, my baby, I never thought I'd see my baby. And she's like, wow, thank you so much. And then she goes, wait, what did you do to my baby? Because the baby gets like the determined look, and it's got the Jack eyes. We get like a cut in, and it's really funny actually. And then he's like, ma'am, I'm sorry to inform you that this child has seen many things that no child should see. And he's like, he has now adopted the first step of a samurai, the Sakai. And then Jack walks away, and the baby's like, Samurai Jack, but he says it, and he doesn't say Samurai Jack, he says like some baby thing. And that's actually really funny. And that is how the season, and at that point until the revival, the series had ended. So what a way to go out. Okay, guys, the magic sword for this one, it's going to go to Samurai Jack. I mean, he not only does he take out all of the opponents on his way, but he takes care of a baby, and he could have just left that kid, or he could have just looked in there and said, like, you know what, dude, that kid's going to be eaten in like 20 minutes. That's fine. And just went on his merry way. But he saved the baby, and then he could have left it somewhere, but he's like, no, I have to save everyone that I come across. He's like, I have to do the right thing. And so, you know, he saves the baby, he feels responsible for it. And then not only does he take care of the baby by like giving it food and getting it milk, even though it's probably going to mess that kid up, and then getting it, like killing everything around it. It shows that he not only is doing his job, but he's also caring for someone else and a baby, which is a handful. So yeah, Jack is the magic sword winner for this week. So Portal in Time, guys, it's the last fight for me when he puts the baby on his back. Super cool. He spins it up. And then like when he puts the sword up there and then we get the Jack eyes in the reflection, the baby's like, oh, the baby knows that some shit's about to go down. That is my favorite scene of the episode, and definitely the Portal in Time for this week. Okay, guys, first score. I got to be honest, I was pretty down on most of this episode. Like I said, partly because of the realistic baby crying sound that went on for just a long time. The concept as an episode I did like. I was just kind of like, for season 4 finale, I was like, all right, this should have been like middle of the season, if that. So I thought it was really weird that, especially at the time, that this was the last aired episode of Samurai Jack. Like if that had, the series just ended like that, that would have been so strange. So yeah, that was strange. But the ending made me laugh. And I thought that was like genuinely funny. That's going to give it a little bit of a boost, but I'm still going to put it as a 6.7 because I like the idea. I like that Jack had to be a father, and it showed some nice moments. There were some sweet moments there. But all in all, it was just kind of a throwaway episode for me. So I was just like, all right. Again, if it had been second, third episode of the series, of the season, I'd be like, okay. But to put it as a season 4 finale, when you, at the time, you knew there was going to be no more episodes, it's like, it's just weird, dude. So I don't know. It just gets a lower score for me because of those reasons. But I didn't hate the episode, contrary to maybe my score. Okay, guys, the final Jack facts for season 4. And of the older batch of episodes here, it's just kind of what I mentioned earlier. The only thing it says here is that this is the last episode to be produced before the series cancellation in 2004, and the last episode to premiere on Cartoon Network. The series was revived in 2017, broadcasting new episodes on Adult Swim. So that is a big factor too, is that this was the last one on Cartoon Network. The series shifts to a much more mature vibe for season 5, a much welcome vibe, I think, on Adult Swim. So it's a huge change going from Cartoon Network to Adult Swim. And then, as I mentioned before as well earlier, this is the last episode to have a 4:3 aspect ratio. All subsequent episodes are shown in a 16:9 aspect ratio, and that is much welcomed as well, because I finally get to experience like the full screen beauty of my 55-inch 4K TV that I have, instead of watching these older episodes on this 4:3. So, but yeah, those are the final Jack facts for the old episodes and for season 4 for this week. All right, guys, that's it. Well, that is it for all of the older episodes. The 4th season is done of Samurai Jack, so we got through the first 4 seasons. This one was kind of a head scratcher to put where it was put, but nonetheless, we got through all the old episodes. So thank you guys so much for getting through Gotta Get Back with me, or checking out the channel. Next week, we are kicking off season 5 in all its glory and its new animation and all that, and I'm super excited. And I know it's more mature, and I've only seen season 5 once when it first aired in 2017. So it's now been like over 4 years since I've seen that. So I'm really excited to rewatch and just to see the new animation and what's changed. And yeah, but thanks for checking it out, guys. Thanks for checking out Project Potter. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell notification. Until next time, guys, gotta get back.